Carl DeMaio, the Republican assemblyman, has been digging up for several months a lot of fascinating issues coming out of Sacramento, such as this one. Now, our tax money was used to help develop the COVID virus out of Wuhan. We sent tax money to that lab. Tax money also may have been used to fund the riots here in Los Angeles. State tax money, $34 million of state tax money given to a group called CHIRLA. CHIRLA. I even have through CaliforniaGlobe.com an itemized list of all the grants that they received from the Sacramento government. CHIRLA stands for Coalition for Humane Immigrant Rights, L.A., and Carl DeMaio is going to explain what this is about. Carl.
Hey, how you doing?
I'm doing good. So $34 million of our tax money to CHIRLA. What's that about?
Yeah. So I've been tracking this group for a while, and it actually came up back in February when I was still on the budget committee. I objected to a program to do $25 million for COVID-19 workplace education. And I said, what the hell are we doing spending $25 million in 2025 on COVID-19 workplace education? They said, we need to teach employees how to wash their hands and how to wear a mask and social distancing. I said, wait. It's 2025. That is so over. It's so insane. Let's just eliminate the program. Well, then I found out where the money really went. The $25 million actually didn't go to anything having to do with workplace education. It went to 73 NGOs, including CHIRLA, this Coalition for, Humane Immigrant Rights, Los Angeles. And so what this really is a money laundering scheme. And then once we found this COVID-19 program, we actually started following the money in a variety of contracts and grants. And they're getting millions and millions of dollars, tens of millions of dollars. The latest tally shows more than $45 million in state funds have been given to this one far-left group, CHIRLA, since 2024, the beginning of 2024. And worse, guess what? CHIRLA operates a help desk where you can call the help desk to rat out ICE in your neighborhood, in your community. So what they're asking people to do is to report and tip off anytime ICE shows up to a help desk, a ratting out, a snitch desk. And then what happens? Presumably, they're then referring that information to these agitators to go and confront and obstruct federal law enforcement. Because why else have a tip desk if you're not going to do something with the information? Why are you calling up and asking people to report about ICE activity unless you're going to do something with it in terms of trying to impede? More importantly, they organized the protests starting last Thursday in Los Angeles through their social media accounts, through their paid staff. They have this whole entire network that they've been building with taxpayer money that then they activate to deploy people onto the streets. Now, they keep saying, well, we ask people to peaceably protest. Well, what we've seen is, with our own eyes, it's not a peaceful protest. These are violent protests, and you can sit there and try to hide behind the notion that you didn't tell people to throw a brick or light a car on fire, but the reality is you see the end outcome. These people have engaged in violence. So I want to have them investigated. At the very least, we should cut off their funding because this group clearly has a political agenda, and it doesn't fit with the priorities that California taxpayers have.
I see a report in California Globe that CHIRLA in 2018 led an effort to defund ICE, abolish ICE.
Yes.
Back in 2018.
And they are anti-law enforcement. They are an extremist, militant group. And yet they're still receiving tens of millions of dollars a year from the state of California. We don't even know what they're receiving in terms of local contracts and grants. And you can bet your bottom dollar that the county of Los Angeles, the city of Los Angeles, the school district of LA are likely giving CHIRLA millions of dollars on top of what we've been able to track in the state budget. And all of this is going to advance a very radical far-left political agenda that has resulted in in my opinion, law enforcement officers being put at grave risk of bodily injury, and at the very least, interference with law enforcement as they're trying to keep the streets safe from criminals. One other thing that I want to point out about what we're seeing happening with these riots, we are seeing Gavin Newsom and Democrats trying to shift the blame onto Donald Trump for this incendiary environment that they've created. They come out with rhetoric saying that ICE, a city council member called ICE a bunch of terrorists, so they're labeling them terrorists, and they're literally saying what ICE is doing to detain criminals, not just because of immigration status, but these are people with criminal records. These are people who have committed rape, sexual assault, violent crimes. That's who's being detained by ICE. And so the Democrats are trying to misrepresent what ICE is doing as though what they're doing is somehow illegitimate or evil. And when you describe law enforcement that way, you literally are encouraging open rebellion against those law enforcement agents.
Did you see that among the criminals that ICE captured over the weekend was a Vietnamese national who back in 1994 was part of a Vietnamese gang that shot up a graduation party in San Marino and killed 2 students? And since 90, he got out and he was captured over the weekend. That's who Bass and Newsom and the rest of these Democratic legislators are protecting. That guy. He killed 2 students. Because he was kicked out of the graduation party.
They have become the party of the criminal element rather than the party of public safety. They have betrayed law enforcement. I don't understand how, if you are a member of law enforcement, that you can possibly be supportive of the Democrat Party in California anymore, because the Democrat Party has betrayed the men and women who wear the badge through their actions this week, and it's been an ongoing pattern of behavior. We also see in the state budget that these left-wing groups are continuing to get state funding, even though we face a budget deficit. The governor and the legislators are ignoring Prop 36. They're not funding Prop 36, which voters overwhelmingly passed, and the voters said that they wanted to empower police and prosecutors to arrest and punish criminals. Well, you can't do that, John, unless you actually fund it. You have to fund a new law. And in this case, the governor decided, okay, the voters might have overwhelmingly approved Prop 36, but I'm going to undo the election by just simply ignoring it and not putting money behind it. And so this budget does not fund law enforcement. In fact, it takes money away from law enforcement by shutting down another prison, the 5th prison that Newsom has cut in his administration. And that money there then is reallocated to groups like CHIRLA. So these CHIRLA groups across the state who are anti-law enforcement are getting full funding and increased funding, while law enforcement has been given the shaft in the budget.
That's so outrageous. Carl, thank you for coming on with us.
Thank you. Take care.
Carl DeMaio, Republican Assemblyman. And that is absolutely blood boiling.